Mulligans and Hackers Golf, Season 2, special guest episode number 4. We sit down with Ed Ditusa, who's a writer for Golficity.
And a social media golf personality, I guess you would say. He's got all the pages that we do.
Yeah, and so Alvin had a little one-on-one with him for probably a good half of the podcast as I was unavailable, and then I popped in near the end and had a little chit chat and enjoyed the second half of the podcast. So I think you guys will enjoy this one. Lots of information. Ed seems to really love his golf.
He does, and I think there might be more material for at least another episode somewhere down the line.
Yeah, it seems like we get that a lot with our guests. So without further ado, guys, here's our episode and chit chat with Ed. Hopefully you enjoy it, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hey, everybody. Back with Mulligans and Hackers, special guest episode number 4 this week. And we're here with Ed
Ditusa.
Ditusa. Yeah, I was going to ask you before we started recording, but it's a great UFC name. I don't know why I think that, but it's a great UFC name. And Ed, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having
me. And I appreciate your time. And so you're in the golf world.
I am. Yeah, it's an obsession. It's kind of takes over a lot of your life from when you start just playing it and getting obsessed to going out as much as you possibly can, and then once you start diving into content creation and writing, and it's kind of all you think about at all times, maybe to the dismay of your significant other at times, but I love this game. Yeah, I'm full in.
I hear you. So do you get out and golf much though?
No. So the sad thing is I practice significantly more than I actually get to play. So I've got 2 kids. I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. So my son just started getting into really playing baseball a lot. So as soon as the spring hits, well, that's when golf season starts. And I'm here in outside of Chicago. We've got like 6 months of golf a year. As soon as the spring hits, you can't wait to get out there and play. Well, that's when baseball starts. So I'm at every practice, I'm at every game, want to make sure that I'm there for him. Well, that, you can either golf or you can go watch your kid play, walk them around the bases, Little League baseball. So I don't get to out as much as I would like to. Luckily for me, I have a garage with 10-foot ceilings and I have a SkyTrack. So I hit a lot of golf balls through the week, like a lot.
Yeah, I see you go live on Instagram quite a bit.
Yeah, I call them lunch buckets.
Yeah.
So I work, this is actually my downstairs office that I'm in right now that I used to work in, but my wife, she changed careers. She went out, works out of the house. I moved to the upstairs office where it's a lot warmer in the wintertime than in the basement where I'm at now. So most days on my lunch break, I go to my garage. There's no car in there. There's no kids. I'm completely by myself. And I have what I call lunch buckets. And I practice either wedges or driver or long irons. I pick some kind of practice that I want to do for that hour. And I go. Sometimes, like you said, I'll go live on Instagram and have a conversation with whoever's on. Other days, I just put on music and I just grind.
Nice. So where's your game at? Like, so for us as noobs, I still consider ourselves noobs even after a couple of years, but like what type of handicap, what scores do you shoot? Like,
yeah, all over, right? So the hardest thing with not being able to play a lot, and I know we talked offline before, you guys play significantly more golf than I get to, and that is huge because there's nothing beats hitting a ball off of grass. Nothing beats seeing a ball fly through the sky, hitting a green. I'm getting chills just thinking about it because I'm stuck inside with winter. I'm getting all giggly. When you watch that ball hit that grass and you hear that turf go and you follow through and you watch it fly in the sky and you hits the ground and it rolls, that's real life feedback. That's real feels. And it's fun. In the garage off of a SkyTrack, the total distance is subjective.
mm-hmm.
You can't really count that. I focus more on the carry distance on my SkyTrack. So I'm really good with my wedges for a average, golfer. Driver is very inconsistent. So to say how all over the place I am, in my local tournament I played in last year over the summer, I shot a 98 and a 99. I made like a 15, 20-foot downhill breaking putt to save 100 on my last round at the same course that I've shot an 82 at, which that ball is right there.
Nice.
That was previously my lowest round. And then this season, not getting out a lot. The last round I played was a really short course. I never played it before, but I went there and I shot a 76. So
Nice.
it's same year I'm shooting a 99 and I'm shooting a 76. So on average, I'm mid to upper 80s golfer. Depends on how things are going. If my driver stays in the fairway, I'll shoot mid to upper 80s easily. If my driver decides to be a jerk, which it does often,
Very inconsistent. Yep.
I'm mid 90s because I'm losing 6 to 8 balls around.
Yep.
If I can't keep it in the fairway, it's over. So like I said, I spent a lot of time practicing. I spent months working on my driver. Like that was something I focused on every week, fixing my setup, using that SkyTrack to my advantage, watching how it's flying. What am I doing? What's not working? Because nothing beats feedback. Nothing beats seeing where the ball is going. So by the end of the season, compared to where I was like in the middle of the summer, my driver was significantly better. I was shooting better scores. So I'm excited to get out there this coming year because that last round, like I said,
Yeah, man.
it felt good.
I know the feeling. So we play at our home course. The course that we play at is a par 66. So it only has one par 5, and it has a few more par 3s than par 4s.
Mm-hmm.
And for us at our level, I think the lowest score I shot there this year was a 72. And I was into the mid to low 70s there for a while towards the end of the year, which was really, really nice. And we play from the tips. So we play, and I think the course, when you play it from the blacks, which is the tips, it's still only 4,500 yards.
Oh, yeah. So you're tipping it out because you're just trying to make it as long as possible.
Yeah.
Normal golf course, if you're playing like the whites, then it's Canada's probably it's all universal, like the key.
Yeah.
Your whites are your mid handicaps.
Yeah.
And you're what 6,500?
Yeah.
60, 68.
So we have 4 other golf courses really in the town and close by that are par 72s, and they get up into the high 5,000, low 6,000 yardages from, we'll say, the whites, right? And we played most of those last year. And so from, we'll say, year 1 playing at Cottonwood where we play, which is our home course. So year 1 when we started this, every hole was driver because, just trying to get it out there, right?
You want to get out there as far as you can.
So it didn't matter because there's short par 4s and long par 3s. We're just trying to get out there, so it's driver off everything. And this year when we played the course. We managed the course differently, so it wasn't driver off every hole. It was just if I can be here on the fairway, I'm a wedge in, I'm good. I don't need to go for the green and either miss left or right because this course there's not a lot of area to miss either left or right on any of the holes. You're in deep trouble if you do. So it's better to be on the fairway with a 90 to 100 yard shot into the green. And we started playing that a little more this year, and the scores reflected that we're playing a little smarter. I wouldn't say safer because again, a lot of the hole, probably about 4 or 5 of the par 4s we go for in one. But if you miss, and we're just new golfers, if we miss, we're in trouble. Well, then you're looking at bogey, double bogey, where you could just hit it to where you want it, on and two, 2-putt or, heaven forbid, the dreaded 3-putt for a bogey, right? That gets your game in, and you start thinking about, well, where do I score here on the course? And I found that when I took my game from the par 66 and went to the par 72s this year, I actually still scored better than I would have, instead of being in the mid to high 90s, I got into the low high 80s. So you see your game developing, even us, and like you said, we play a ton of golf, and it's nice to see your score progression, where now you're thinking about, okay, that may not have been the best shot, but now how do I recover and give myself at least a chance for bogey? Because we're not looking for chances for pars here, we're looking chances for bogey because that's our game, right?
Yeah,
So
you're right on the money. So I have a couple of friends that are, either they're in the industry as fitters, teachers, or they're just really good players. And playing with those better quality players, you start learning how to manage your game better, how to man, like you said, you have a par four that you hit a driver on. If you hit your driver, keyword there, if you hit it decent, yeah, you're in great shape. But say it's a short, par four, not drivable, but a short one. You hit a 3-wood significantly more accurate. Well, now you've got, say you've got 130 into the green. Well, that's a manageable shot. It's a lot easier, golf
yep,
easier
yep,
to do. So one of my buddies, I shot a ball fitting video with him at the PGA Tour Superstore, and I've developed a friendship with him. He's older gentleman, but that's the great thing about golf. Age doesn't matter. You don't If you have this game in common, doesn't matter. You're gonna have a
yep,
good time, right? And we were talking, we're shooting the shit back and forth, and he goes, let me ask you, like, what's your favorite, most confident club? What's your most confident, scoring club? So for me, it's my gap wedge. I love my gap wedge. It's 85 to 100 on the nose. I feel like I can really control it. Anytime that club is in my hand, I'm confident. He goes, okay, let me ask you this. You're on a par five and you hit a decent drive, and you're going to hit a 3-wood and try to chase it onto the green, or are you going to hit yourself an easy 8-iron that's easy to control, get yourself in the fairway, and get you into that range where that wedge is, where you can attack that pin? Well, now you're firing it on your third shot with a chance at birdie versus trying to muscle a 3-wood that maybe you don't have the right lie. Now you're putting yourself behind a tree. You're in a bad spot. Now you're chasing, just trying to get on the green to save par. It's like, why? It's like the game's hard enough. Hit an easy 8-iron, hit a 9-iron, set yourself up for that club that you have all the confidence in the world in. And so that 76 that I shot, that I'm now is in the back of my head for the next 5 months, is this is the last round you played, is you shot a 76, you can go do it again. So my 82 up there, I've shot 82 more than once. That's my lowest, but I know I can do it. That course that I played was so short that I couldn't hit driver anywhere.
yeah,
And I never played it before. It was the first time I ever played the course. I was there by myself. I played 9 holes in 45 minutes. Every ball was in the fairway except for one, a couple of shots that found the woods because I didn't know how far the hole really was. And I'm hitting wedges in, and so many times that round I got to hit that gap wedge, where in the garage, just the golf lab as I call it, I practiced my wedges so much that I was firing shots better than average. Like, I'm not Tiger Woods over here by any means. I'm not going to fire shots inside 15 to 10 15 feet on a regular basis, but that day I was. And no three putts. Just mentioned a minute ago.
yep.
You
Yeah,
don't have
that's
a
huge.
You get rid of three putts. It is amazing. That's 18 shots. If you three
Yep,
putt, normally three putt every hole, that's 18 strokes on your game. That's going from an 80 to a 98, like that.
yep, you bet.
It's so easy. So the game is hard, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
ego.
our rule number one is golf is hard. So
I'm mean to myself. I say some pretty mean things to myself out there. I also try to make myself laugh as much as possible. The most enjoyable rounds I've ever had, I have no idea what I shot until the game was over.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And we play a little bit like that as well. Um, so on that point of playing and having really good rounds when you're not really paying attention, um, when we play, when we just have our like guys we just go out and play. We play a lot. Like if we get like 5, maybe 6 rounds in a week. I think Monday is the day I take off. So we play Tuesday after work because our course, literally, our home course is like 2 minutes down over the road from where I work. So when I'm done at 4 o'clock, and usually here in the summer, it's light until 10 in the night.
Yeah, for sure.
So we leave work, and there's a group of 3 or 4 of us that'll meet down there after work. We just go and play around like every day after work because we don't need to be.
I would cry in pure happiness if I could play 6 times a week.
So, and then once our tour was kind of done this year, um, the weekends became 18 in the morning, lunch, and 18 in the afternoon on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's how we got all of this golf in. And
Wow.
just
You've
like,
gone from upper 20s and your index to a 15 in like a year?
yeah,
That's fantastic.
yeah. Again, it's just not that it's rewarding or anything, but it's like you see that, and even playing though, like even some days when you don't have that good round, you still maybe hit the ball well. You just weren't putting yourself in great positions to score. You're still hitting the ball well. But like when we have our tour dates and we play practice rounds, and we're kind of working. I write down a lot of information because we all have if we don't know how to golf, at least look like you do. So we have scorecard books and all that type of stuff. So we write down a lot of information when we're playing like practice rounds. But when we go out for our tour dates and we're playing like to beat each other, because again, we're all like in the same handicap area, and anybody could win on any particular day. We don't talk a lot to each other. We're in the same cart, but it's like game day. Game face is on, right?
You guys are all just stoic, just
Oh, and we literally, like, we know what we're doing, but we don't know really what the guy next to us is doing because we don't have an app that gives us that where you can go and look at where everybody else is, because we usually
18 birdies.
Well, we do that, but not everybody has 18 birdies.
Okay, so yeah, because you can set up the tournaments and 18 birdies where you can have a live feed.
I know we've thought about that, but there's some of the guys that like don't do that. They just go out and play, and they use their scorecard. They don't keep a handicap index or anything like that. So, but yeah, we go stone faced, and we don't. If the guy in your cart is having a bad round, you don't want that to bring you down because you don't know what the other guys are doing in the next cart over or in the group behind you or in front of you. Because we go out like sometimes with 8 guys, so there's 2 groups. We usually get our tee times back to back, right? So one group will be in front, one group will be.
Yeah, you're the guys I pass.
Yeah,
because I always go out by myself. I'm always a single.
Oh, are you?
Well, because of my kids are so young that I will go out at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
For a quick 9 on like a Saturday or a Sunday before I've got a baseball game, I've got cheerleading or a family party. So I'm out there by myself, either push cart mafia or in a golf cart, and I get a tee time. I get out there, and the starter's like, "Hey, there's 8 guys coming. Like, you can get out in front of them." So no warm ups, no putts. Just I'm out there, breakfast ball off the tee.
Our course treats us really well because they let us kind of do our own thing. Whether it's one of us, we go down and we get out, 2 of us, 4 of us. Like our course looks after us because we're all members there, and they just kind of guys just go do your thing, right? So that's a bonus of what we do too. Is that you guys just go do your thing. Just don't hold anyone up, and don't go hitting into anybody, and you guys will be fine.
Yeah, is it semi-private or is it a public course?
No, it's a public course. Yeah.
You said you're members, so like you do like a special pass or like
yeah. So we buy a yearly membership, but it's open to the public as well. So you can buy a membership, and it gives you. We can book our tee times like a week in advance, so we can always get our tee times for our groups back to back. So that we're going on.
You guys come in from your round, and you guys go into the clubhouse and say same time next week.
Yeah. Or we have this app called Corona Golf. So we just go in the app, and our golf course is on there, and it has all the tee times in there. So we want this tee time on Saturday, we want this tee time on Sunday, and we just book them on the app. So it works fantastic.
That makes
and that way, like I could book a tee time, and then Chris could book a tee time right behind it. So if we have 8 guys going out, or even 6 guys, we'll do 2 groups of 3 for our tour dates and stuff like that.
Then it moves it quick.
What's that?
Then it moves it along quickly.
Yeah, and going down and playing a round of golf, a semi-competitive round of golf with your buddies on like a Saturday or Sunday, man, that is a blast. And I think it's, I won't say unique, but it's interesting how we do it. And like I listen to yourself, and you're a solo. Like I want to go out and I want to compete against somebody, because if I'm going out and playing by myself, it's just a practice round. And I don't know if I get everything out of it that I maybe should, because I should be dropping 2 or 3 balls and hitting from areas where I don't normally hit from. But we're always going out with somebody. Yeah,
the competition makes it so much more enjoyable going to somebody else.
And we're playing for something like all year long. And and we're crap golfers. Like, I would say crap golfers, but like,
We all are though. We're all
yeah,
terrible.
right?
You know, I always say to people, you know, because I am a single and I'm out there, a lot of times I get paired up with people and you see the memes like, oh, you know, here comes that single, you know, not today, buddy, you're not joining us. When I join people's groups, I try to not, you know, if they're with their buddies, I try to just let them be, see their personality. If they are open to joking around, you know, I do customer service for a living. I try to customer service that experience. I want them to have a good time. I want them to leave that round thinking, you know, that random guy that I got paired up with, he was fun. And you see them hit a bad shot, or you know, you hit a bad shot. You know, you just make. I like to use this joke all something. You know, that's why I pay to be out here, and I don't get paid to play here. No one's paying me to play here. I paid to show up. I'm not a professional. Drop another ball.
Yeah.
It's good enough. You got a bad lie. Just use the foot wedge. Enjoy yourself. It's fine.
Yeah. And see, in our first season when we did our practice rounds, we did a lot of that. Like, you know, that shot wasn't good. Drop another one, try it again. And we wouldn't score that. But this last year we played, like, we really focused on playing our shots from where we're hitting them just to try and get that little bit, I guess, better, if that's the word for it. But just, if I hit it here, I'm going to hit it from here. And if it's out of bounds or I hit it in water, I'm taking the penalty stroke, and I'm just gonna, because the par 5 that we play on down in our course, same thing. My driver range. There's a small runway between a creek and a bog, and my driver is ranged right in that runway. But that runway is not that big.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to lose a lot of strokes on that hole, especially when we're playing like a tournament day. So I went and bought a hybrid. I can absolutely flush this hybrid. I can't make I can't make it to the water.
Good.
So now I hit that hybrid off the tee. I hit that hybrid again up to, because there's a river that runs in front of the green.
Okay.
So I hit the hybrid up to the edge and then hit a wedge over. I'm on in 3 and I'm 2 buddy for par. So that's course management, right?
100%. The course that I play a lot out by me is called Boone Creek, and it's 3 9-hole courses in one spot.
Yeah.
So you get there, and as a single, it's almost a guarantee you can get out and get a tee time, because there's 3 9-hole courses, and then when you play 18 there, they just tell you, okay, you're on Creekside night, and then Valley, or your Valley, and then Prairie, whatever it is, they shuffle you around. And one of the courses I'm talking about, that there's a small creek marsh on this hole. It is a 100% drivable par 4. The hole is only like 380. No, that's
too far.
380.
If you're hitting 380, yeah, no. you're outside of our skill level.
280.
Yeah,
is what I meant to say. But that creek, that little marsh, is at like 265. So you can chase a driver if you are long enough to hit that. You can chase it, and then you can hit the green, you're on it. But there's trees right behind it that you're going to be behind. If you hit the green too hard, it's going to bounce and go right over. You got no shot over it. If you don't carry that marsh, you're dead. But you're talking about you hit that hybrid. I hit my hybrid off the tee. I hit it like 225 max, and that's if I really pure the hell out of it. Well, that's not going to hit that marsh at all. And then I've got an easy wedge in. I was talking about earlier, that gap wedge, and I'm on. And if, depending on how close I hit it, I'm not walking out of there with anything more than a par. It's just it's gotten, again, easy relative
and again,
in the difficult part out of it.
The more golf we play, even for us as hardcore amateurs, course management is you're starting to realize, what do I do here?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, even a year ago it would be, I just got to hit the ball. I just got to move it forward. I don't know how or where it's going to go. I just have to keep moving it forward. Now we think a little bit more about the game, right? So I hit my 9-iron, you know, 120, 130 yards. So that's right. My 7-iron, I hit it 150 yards. So now you're getting, because we have it all. I have my score, my book, and in there it's all my carry distances for all my clubs.
I do the exact same thing. You take the thinking out of it, right?
Yep. So
do you have a GPS watch, or do you scope everything?
Actually, I don't do either. I actually have course book, and it has all the holes on the courses, like all the. So I have that book inside of my scorebook. So I've done my own homework on 18 birdies, like we said, and I'll give myself where I am out on the hole, depending on where I am. So then I'm just looking on here. If I can see a marker, 150, 100-yard marker, and I'm looking, and I just look at the hole and go, okay, I need another 10, 15 yards. So then I'll just do that calculation and I pick the club appropriate, right?
Treat yourself at some point to. I use a tool called Shot Scope. It is a GPS. Have you heard of it?
Yes, yes. Again, I'm the only one in our entire dozen guys that we do this with that just does it by book, because Chris, who's not here tonight, he has a watch. Some guys use the 18 Birdies app. Some guys, Clarky has the rangefinder scope thing that he just zooms it, right? Which is pretty funny when he's doing a little of a bunker next to the green, but.
Well, that's unnecessary. That's a little unnecessary.
Totally unnecessary.
I use the scope on par threes because I want to know what it really is that day. I use it on that, which is I missed my first ace that last round out. That's 76 by 6 inches. It was the closest I've ever had to my first ace. It rolled right behind the hole. So it hit from the tee, the ball disappeared, and my heart's racing because I was playing a yellow ball. It was the fall. Start driving the cart down, and all of a sudden I can see the ball, and I don't know if it was on the front or the back, and I got up there and it rolled behind it. So I knew it was on the right line. It just barely missed it, but I scoped those. And then I used the shot scope. And this past year, I wasn't doing the stat tracking where it'll track your three putts and your club distances and everything like that. I was just focusing on the yardages. And I found the biggest thing with that is your approach shots, because that's going to give you your middle, front, and back distances.
Which is very important, knowing where that flag is.
It's huge. Now, there's days, we're, us crappy golfers, whatever, we're having fun, we're having a great time out there. There's days where, that 9-iron that you hit 130, maybe you're pure and everything that day. Maybe that 139 iron's a bit much. Well, is that pin in the middle that day? Well, if that pin is at 930 on the nose in the middle, maybe 9-iron's not the right play that day.
Yep. And elevation below the hole, above the hole, even that for us is we're understanding that has a big impact on your distances. Because if the green is elevated from you from the fairway, or if it's way below you, because we have some significant elevation changes at the course we play at, because it's in a coulee, so it kind of runs up both sides of the coulee. So some tee boxes will be way above the green, and some tee boxes will be way, right. And it just gives your mind has to work this, right? So, it's a lot of fun, man. So, you have the socials. So you're on YouTube, Instagram, you're over on
TikTok,
Twitter, you're
YouTube,
on TikTok. So give us a little bit of a rundown on your socials.
Yeah. So for me, when I started really obsessing with golf, I ended up getting connected with a golf publication company called Golficity, and they're out of New Jersey, and I started writing for them. And it was just, I wanted to write my experience of my first ever driver fitting. When I'm into golf now, I want to get an actual driver fitting. Can I write an article for you guys? And they're like, well, we're not looking for one and done writers. If you want to keep doing it, that's fine. But we want to know if you're into it. So from there, I didn't have a golf Instagram or anything like that. And as I've continued to write, that was my very first article. And then since then, that was 7 years ago that I wrote that. I've written hundreds of articles, and the biggest part of any type of media contact is content, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing a review on a product that no one has. Well, I need to create some kind of link. So I started my Instagram and my YouTube to create the content I needed just for my articles. So I'd have something to put in there. Here's a product that I'm doing a review on. Well, it's new. No one's ever seen it. Let me take some pictures of it, put it on my Instagram, and slide it in there. And that eventually evolved into, well, I have my sub 70 hat on. I'm a big sub 70 guy. They're out of Sycamore, Illinois. They're an hour from me. I met them via Twitter. They just saw a picture scroll up on my timeline. I shot them a DM saying I'd love some more information. They messaged me right back, started talking to them, and they said, "Hey, well, why don't you come down for a visit?" Huh? Who am I? Like I've only, I've written maybe 60 articles at this point. Okay, like I let them know who I was, and I did a whole write up for them, and that was my first ever YouTube video that I ever did, and I shot it on a cell phone. That entire Meet Sub 70 video that's done very well as the company's gone, the entire thing was shot, golfer on the back, was shot on an iPhone 6, I think it was. I walked around with a little handheld and filmed the whole thing and edited in iMovie because I needed a video to go with my article. And it's just kind of taken off from there.
Yeah, we're going to get into what's in the bag towards the end. So
Sure.
I don't want to get into too much to the
I-
sub 70.
Leave it there.
But I use the sub 70 putter as well, the Sycamore 006.
Mhm.
And didn't quite work for me, but I am fully aware of the sub 70 brand. I actually have that hat.
This one?
Yeah. And I really like their gear. I like their equipment. Anything else that you've used other than sub 70 that you like?
So I started off with Ping. So Ping was like my first like name brand that I started using. Actually, my mother-in-law, her ex-husband gave me a set of Ping I2s for Christmas. He was getting a new set of clubs. Hey, buddy.
Hey, welcome to the show, you slacker.
It's good to connect.
Look, he's not even ready to go. Such an amateur.
It's okay. He'll just catch up with you. So, I'm a big fan of Ping's products. I think they just design really good clubs. I have a set of I2s in my garage that I need to put new grips on. Those clubs are timeless. They're universally known as one of the best set of irons that's ever been made. I'm not a fan of TaylorMade drivers, but I think is that behind you? Is that a TaylorMade burner or is that?
I've got a TaylorMade burner back there, and I've got a TaylorMade R9, both of which that have cycled themselves through the bag. I'm currently rocking a Callaway Diablo in the bag.
I love Callaway drivers
over there. Again, because we're coming so late to the party, I want to try everything.
Sure.
Right? I don't want to be like when I got into golf, I wanted to play Wilson. Wilson was just. So now that we did this, I went with the Wilson I got Wilson D7 irons in the Wilson bag. And I've been playing them a couple of years now, and they're cavity backs. I think it's time to move on. And I don't know if I'm going to go back to Wilson irons. I might try something else. But that's a story for down the road because golf's expensive too, man.
Golf is an expensive mistress.
But I have gone through an enormous amount of putters. An enormous amount.
There's only so many good putts in a putter. Eventually, they need to be. I would have liked to have started golf probably about 30 years ago, so that I could have been well into my putter learning experience because, man, I haven't found one that I 100% like yet, other than I tried one at Chris's there last year. What was that one, Chris?
That was the Maltby. I can't remember what model exactly it is, but it's a Maltby mallet.
It's a mallet. It has the insert on the front.
On it.
Yeah, it's got a 2-ball and it has the insert on the front. I found through trial and error and trying a whole bunch of different putters that milled face doesn't work for me. I don't have any control or pace control. But if it has an insert, I can work with it. And I think right now I'm using a Nike Method putter.
Oh, yeah. The Nike Method that's a nice model. That thing's been around for a little while.
It's a lend me, just like the Callaway driver is a lend me. Like, I'll try anything. If guys got gear and they're like, hey, why don't you just try this? I will stick it in the bag and I will give it a whirl. So towards the end of the year, a buddy of mine who doesn't golf a lot said, well, I got all this stuff. He just starts throwing, like, here's a driver, here's a putter. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll take that out for sure. I'll try that.
Right.
And I found that the Nike Method putter, it's got a little half moon on the back, not quite a 2-ball, but it has a nice center insert on it. I started to putt a little better with it. Now I'm not a huge Nike fan, but if it's going to work, I'll leave it in the bag.
Oh, for sure. I just moved, and we'll get to in the bag later. You know, you tease that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna bury the lead for the guys and gals watching. But I just recently moved away from a putter that I had in my bag. So or a little bit ago, as mentioned, when I did that driver fitting, I was between in that fitting, I was between a Cobra F8, which I ended up buying at the time. It's not in the bag anymore, and a Callaway. What was it the time? Wasn't the Rogue? What was right before the Rogue? If you remember,
Maverick
For the Rogue, that was
before
the Epic
it
Flash.
was the Epic.
Flash.
It was
Yeah.
it was the first edition of the Epic. So
Yeah,
this is
I have
several
one of
years
those in
ago.
my bag actually, or I had one in my bag, and then I moved to this. Actually, this off season, I went and I got fitted for Mizuno driver and
Okay.
3.5 legend.
So
Yeah,
Chris's bag from top to bottom is Mizuno now.
Other
It is
than my putter.
big
Other than
Mizuno.
your putter, yeah.
Yeah, all the golf companies, it's so close. All their stuff is so good. I mean, nobody makes a bad product of, the major golf companies, and maybe not the major golf companies. They're all so close. But it's what works best for you. That's why the importance of fittings are so big. Fitting by a professional who knows what they're doing, not because it looked good on the simulator, but because they fit you right. The guy who fit me to my first driver, it was between the Epic and the F8 for me. To get the Epic, I was getting a little bit more yardage out of it, but I needed to upgrade to like a tour edition shaft. It was like super expensive, or I could do what I did with the F8, and I had a little extra money to play with, and I was messing in between putting because you had some students coming in and whatnot. This Are you guys familiar with Tour Edge? You ever heard of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
They're smaller. They're getting bigger on the senior tour.
Yes,
But
the Champions Tour.
yeah, the Champions Tour, Seniors Tour. I'm still staying stuff from before. They're rebranding stuff. I was messing with this putter in the little putting area. It's called the HP Series Red, and it was $60 new.
Wow.
$60, and it is like the knockoff version of the Spider. So if you were to like look this thing up, you'll look at it is like the 3 lines in the back. It's got like the spider wing on it, and it was $60. I'm like, this is coming home with me. And I played that thing for years, and a buddy of mine, he started calling it Excalibur because he would see me hit putts with this thing from all over the green. Like I was never out of it. I would draw putts, and it had an insert. It wasn't a milled facing. It had a nice little ting on it, and that's been in my bag for years. I didn't want to move away from it, but we'll get to it. I moved on.
I love putters. I'm a putter geek myself. I love to putt. I got a old Scotty Cameron. I got the one that Alvin used there that I had a lot of success with 2 seasons ago. That was a multi one, and then this year my dad for Christmas last year got me a TaylorMade Spider ECG. So early in the season, it was feeling pretty good, and I didn't quite have time to get the feel of it because I suffered my Achilles injury, and then I was off for like 5 weeks. So it was kind of when I got back and I started golfing a lot more, I found that I couldn't putt much with the new putter because I didn't have the feel with it, and because I came in kind of mid-season in our tournament rounds, I reluctantly went back to my trusty old multi putter, and all of a sudden then I started putting better again. I started getting confidence back in my putting, and just kind of went from there. I love that's it, right? And I love putters. Like, I mean, there are days where I'm not opposed to trying different putters in the bag, but like Alvin's not quite sure what he likes yet because he's still
I like
trying a
the
lot of
blade.
different
Like I
things.
showed you, Ed, earlier before we even went on. I showed you that Tommy Armour
Mhm.
Silver Scott. When I'm putting, again, you talk about being comfortable. I like looking down at a blade, like a true blade like that. And not like the
Mhm.
Scotty Cameron, but like the old Jack Nicklaus blade. I like looking down at that. You just can't putt with it, right? So
Like we all want to play blades, right? We all want to
right,
get out there with those, those sharp cutting buttery blades, but
yeah, and it just doesn't. It doesn't work. So I'm in the I guess I'm in the process of finding a putter that I like looking, because again, it's aesthetics. You look down at the putter and you got to like what you're looking
Huge.
at,
Yeah.
right? It's huge. You got to like what you're looking at. And I'm trying to find that balance between what I'm looking down and I like, and it actually semi working for me, right? So that's why I'm kind of going with this Nike thing here. You know, I don't mind looking. Other than it's Nike, I'm not a huge Nike fan. Just not.
To say other than that, I like Galvin hates Nike, but somehow they found a way into his bag. So
Yeah. Well, again, I'll try anything once. You know what I mean?
Hello.
So, and I mean, you know, we talk wedges. I use the Kirkland wedges from Costco.
You got them? Yeah.
I do. Yeah, you bet,
I
man.
call them every time I'm there, and Rick Shields did an
Yep.
awesome video on them. It was like, they're not bad. They're
And again,
it-
even for a hacker like me, like my confidence out of bunkers now, like this past season, was it didn't matter if I went into bunker. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I've got the shot and the club. Whether I would use the 52, depending on how far away I am from the pin in the bunker, I'll use either the Kirkland 52, 58, or 60. If I got to flop it out, I'll use the 60, and I'm usually out in one.
getting out is the battle. We can get it on the putting surface, and we're fine, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I just wish I could figure out one of those clubs to give me a 50-yard shot. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. Because I need that. We talk about the course that we play at.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of holes there where I need a 50-yard shot, and I don't quite have it. So talk about being out of position, right?
Well, we're talking, offline. It's simulator season, right?
Yeah.
You can go to these simulators at different golf courses. Or do you guys have PGA stores in Canada?
Yeah, just not close by.
not close by us, anyways.
So you can find these different places, or like Golf Tech or whatever, where you can go in for these assessments and use these simulators and do like a wedge assessment and start kind of getting your feels of like what your quarter swing is, what your half swing is. And I'm going to be doing that on my YouTube. Now that we're in the winter season, I'm stuck in the golf lab. I'm going to do I've done a whole SkyTrack series on all the different features on how they work, but it was just a kind of a quick, this is how they work. I'm going to, go into them again. And I have, we're talking about in your yardage book that you've got like what your carry distance are. At the bottom of my yardage book is in my golf bag in my garage. On the bottom, I have all my yardages, my irons, what my carry distance is, my regular, like controlled, like 85, 90% swing, and what a full swing is. And I always go to like the lighter side for my yardages, but I also have my wedges written down, what my quarter, what my half, 3/4, and full swing and my wedges are. Just in those events where like I can't really feel it. I'm not confused, but I'm not certain. Okay, well, this is what I've tested. This is what I've gone on my SkyTrack and said, this is what I do regularly. This is my average. Trust this number. You've had a computer algorithm that's way smarter than you'll ever be tell you what you're doing. Trust that.
Interesting.
It helps. I mean, I still suck, but I suck a little bit less.
I think that's all of us.
Less opportunities to suck.
Right. This year, that was one of my things. Like my woods were the last thing that I got fitted for, but at the beginning of the year, I ordered some custom Haywood wedges, and I kind of fitted them to my specifications from when I did my iron fitting last year. And they are, now that I have the feel of them after the last half of the season and getting to get my swings in with them and whatnot, I do the same thing. I don't have it written in my yardage book, but I'll spend time, before a round, I'll hit quarter, 50%, 75%, 100%, know which club I'm hitting well that day for those distances. And then I know going into my round, based upon the situations I get put in, hey, this is the club I need to take out. And it just gives you so much more confidence when you know that, right? Versus where you're like, oh, I'm stuck in between clubs. I don't have the confidence to 50% swing this one. And that's the difference between being able to make those shots and not.
Well, it goes from knowing the shot you want to make to just moving the ball forward, right?
Yep.
Well, what's the shot you can make? We want that Phil Mickelson flop shot. Those are pretty, and we've all tried them. Sometimes we've actually done them, but more times than not,
I won't try it consistently or in a tournament event. No,
that's stupid. Just like if you're hosting an event at your house, like it's Christmas, right? When we're recording this right now, you don't try out new recipes when you've got people coming over to the house where it's going to go bad for you. You try out new recipes in your spare time. You don't try out a new recipe when people are coming over to the house. Same thing with golf. Don't try a shot that you've never practiced in a round that matters. That's a bad idea.
Yep.
Maybe you'll pull it off. You probably won't,
You probably won't.
but maybe you will. That's why I love putting. Putting is just simple.
I don't know. That's one thing I don't attest or attribute to putting is it's simple. Man, it's yeah. I just need to go to the
It's just speed.
mini putt courses.
Well, I think it is real simple. I think you're right. I think it is. It's pace control, right? Pace control and making sure that you're right. It's mental pace control and making sure that you understand that just because you don't hold a putt doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't make your putt. If you started online where you wanted to start it online and you hit it with the pace you wanted to hit it with, you made your putt. You might have misread it, but you made your putt.
That's 100% right. What was the putt you were trying to make? What was your line? Did you hit it? Did you do what you intended to do? Maybe the result wasn't there, but I hit my line. Or, how many times you're out there like, I want to hit to that little pitch mark in the green, and you miss it a little bit left, and your putt was a little bit high in the hole. Like, I read it right, didn't go in, but I made the right read. So same on the flip side of that, we'll read a putt completely like shit, and we'll mishit that putt and it goes in. The golf gods say you deserve this one. I'm gonna give you today. I'm gonna help you out. It happens. This guy. I was playing a par 3 tournament with my mother-in-law. This tiny little course right where she lives. It's super short. I think the longest hole is like 160 yards. It is fun to play. We're playing this little tournament, and this guy we're playing with, a friend of hers, gave me the best putting tip I've ever had in my entire life, and it's changed my world. And I'll save it for our next time on the podcast. No, I'm kidding. I'm playing now. You just do a 90-degree angle from the hole, from where your ball is. If there's a hill to your right, go to the crest of the hill, 90 degrees, and come down. There's your spot. That's where you're aiming. Just get your speed right. And the amount of lag putts that I've put close since that stupid little tip, it's insane. Well, he just dumbed it down because I hit a really bad read. And then he's like, well, do this. And then the rest of that round, I'm getting lag putts, and I'm decent at putting inside, 3 feet. Now, those 3-footers are the space right here that messes with you. That's why I don't practice in my office anything more than 3 to 6 feet. Never. I got a putt out in my office upstairs where I normally work, and I'll get up off of a phone call and I'll go putt, and it's basically 3-footers. That's it. Because I need to make 100% of those. Well,
that's it.
99. Can't miss them.
Yep. If you want to play golf at a high level, or you want to get good at golf and put up good scores, those are the ones that you have to hold, right? Like, that's the difference between like like hackers like us and people that are able to be really, really low handicaps. Like, that's where your game starts to take to another level. I mean, whereas we're looking at it and we're making some of those putts, sure, but we're still missing ones that we shouldn't miss.
Mm-hmm.
But it either goes back to we don't have the confidence when we stand over the putter, or we just don't put enough time and effort into that part of the game, right? Like you're saying, I roll out my putting mat in my living room all the time. I literally I don't have a lot of space in here, but I mean, between 3 to 6 feet, that's what I putt all day long when I'm putting. And I mean, usually when I get on the course, you can see it because most of the time, I mean, generally speaking, I'll hit my putts where I want to hit them. Sometimes I'll go in, sometimes I won't. But I mean, I have confidence in that inside of that range because I spent a lot of time doing it.
Yeah.
And
you don't think about it. You're just it's not muscle memory, but you're confident. You're not thinking about it.
And that's what I lack is that confidence in the putting. I lack that. I lack knowing that, hey, that's my line. If you get the pace, I'm looking at the entire green going, there's no way I can make this. And that's my preset routine is there's no way you can make this. So I'm already in a negative mind frame.
Yeah, you're accepting defeat. You can't accept defeat. You got to go out there with an arrogance level. Like this is what you do for a living. You make those putts. You talk yourself up. You're like, listen, that ball's going in the hole. That's where it's going home. Happy Gilmore, you're going home, buddy. With long lag putts, the biggest thing is you're not going to make them. I mean, tour players don't make them. Sometimes they drop, but they're not. give yourself that makeable putt. Do that. It's the layup of putting, right? You're not going to make it. You can go for a green from 180 yards out with trouble all over, or you can lay up and take an easier shot and just lag that putt up there. Try to get it inside the hula hoop and give yourself that easier putt.
100%.
It's too much thinking in golf. It's too hard.
Boy, is there ever. But the more you play, the more you can start working some stuff out. And I think next year, putting will be. I mean, Chris spends a lot of time on the practice green when we go down to golf. I think I'll probably spend a fair bit more time there this year and really work on that part of the game as well.
All day.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time at the golf course, but we spend a lot of time on the range as well.
Yeah, and the ranges, I mean, it's interesting. My perspective's kind of changed as I've gotten more into golf over the last 2 to 3 years. Like I used to be big on the range because I wanted to get consistent hitting balls. Now that I can usually consistently hit balls, I'm like, okay, so I'm going out there, I can hit these shots. Where do the strokes count the most? Well, the strokes count the most the short game. You got to spend that time on that precision type of game, right? So I'll often spend more time on the green, in and around the green, than I will on the range nowadays, because I find that has more payoff in a round than if I spend it on the range, right? Like I used to hit 2 full buckets all the time on the range. Well, now I'll go through like a warm up bucket. I'll do my thing. I'll be like, okay, I'm good. I hit a couple shots with each club. I'm comfortable today. I'm going to go hit my wedges now around the green, and I'm going to go putt for like 45 minutes to an hour and just get the feel of how things are working today. And I find, for me anyways, that works great.
Yeah, the range that I like to go to when I have an opportunity to go, they've got a great short game area. The guy's even in the back in the woods. He's got like a little green set up, like it's not the best green, and it's like 100-yard shot where you can just hit all day into it. I'll go over there. I'll get a quarter bucket, not even a full bucket, and I will putt. I will chip. I will hit pitch shots, and then I will hit that bucket at the end. I hit because I have the SkyTrack, so luckily for me, I can hit every day, but I can't work that short game. I don't have a putting green in the backyard. I've got a putting mat. Well, that's great. It's always flat surfaces, but you can't beat grass. It's the best feedback.
Yep.
Okay. So now we'll do a what's in the bag here now, Ed, and then we'll wrap it up. So what are you rocking right now?
So I am, as you probably have guessed, I'm like 90% sub 70. So I have the sub 70 driver, the 849 Pro that they came out with about a year ago. Did a head-to-head comparison with that driver I was mentioning earlier, and it blew it out of the water. And I was hitting driver like crap that day. I was hitting everything off the toe, and I was still beating it by 30 yards. So I've got that. And then I joined Sub 70 fandom club when they very first launched. So I have their first edition of their 3-wood, the 849X. And was it 849? No, 939. I think it was called the 939 3-wood, their 939 3 hybrid, 4 through pitching wedge 699s, which is like their #1 selling model. It looks a lot like the P790s or the Ping i500s. It's similar to that style. It's a player iron, has the TPE injection in it. They are just rockets. Love the way those clubs look down at address, a little bit of offset on them. They're beautiful. I've got a 56-degree wedge by sub 70. And then my favorite club is actually a Ping Glide wedge. I love that wedge. It is my favorite thing in the bag. Put that in my hand from 85 to 100 yards. We're going home. It is a beautiful club. I've got a Wilson 60-degree lob wedge. It's a Wilson harmonized.
Harmonized, yeah. Yep. I've actually got a couple of those over there in the backup bag.
I won it at a scramble.
Nice.
A raffle. And I'm like, this is going in. It's a nice little lob wedge. I love it. And then my putter is the sub 70 001 blade. So I just got that over the summer. My father-in-law has a Scotty Cameron Newport, and it's on my Instagram. There's a picture. We went out and we played, and I took his Newport and I put it next to my 001. It was the first round I played with it. I put it next to each other. It's the same milling pattern, exactly the same. So that's what's in the bag right now. And then I play the TaylorMade TP5s, not the TP5X. I play those. I did a ball fitting. It's on my YouTube channel at the PGA Tour store. And after the fit was done, that was the winner. Well, that one and was it the Strixon Z Star were like two like that were close, and I took them out to the course. Mizuno makes a good ball too, though. Just saying there. The Mizuno ball is decent. RBX, I think it is. RBZ.
Yeah,
Isn't
I haven't tried the Mizuno balls yet, to be honest with you.
isn't the RBZ TaylorMade?
Yeah, the RBZ is TaylorMade, so it must be the RBX or something.
I'm terrible with names. So I know that whatever it is, Mizuno makes a good one. I've hit some decent shots with those. But yeah, I'm a TP5 guy. I like the way it feels. It works great, off the driver for me. I get good spin out of it, nothing crazy. And then I will love the way it feels when I putt.
Nice,
Cool.
nice. Well, that's important, right? Like the feel, especially with the putter. It's that's good.
It's kind of important. So
Cool.
yeah, that's
Well,
what's
Ed,
in there.
thanks, man.
I'd love to update the wedges. That's the next change is to go for a wedge fitting and change those out.
Sub 70.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe I'll just go to Costco and get those adjusted in. I'm a duffer on a dime, buddy. I got to save money where I can.
Yeah, Kirkland's worked for me, but again, I'm a cost-effective golfer as well. So
Wherever we could save money, because it's an expensive enough sport. It costs a lot of money just to get out there and play.
yeah.
100%.
All right, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and having a chat with us, dude. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's
'Cause I think we could talk golf probably for a lot longer.
oh yeah, no, yeah. My wife is she already woke up. I don't know if you guys heard the ding. She's like, "Where are you?" Downstairs. So I'm
Oh
like,
man, I know it's like it's later there than it is here because you're out there in the old Illinois area.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go hit the pillow hard, crash out, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Hey man, this was a
Let's
blast. I
definitely do
really
this again.
appreciate it. Thanks for being
Yeah.
our fourth guest
This year.
episode this year, which is the
Yep.
most we've ever had. So appreciate it,
Take
man.
that and clean up.
Yeah,
All right,
works
buddy.
good.
We'll
Nice
talk
meeting
again.
ya, and have a great Merry Christmas.
Nice meeting you guys. Merry Christmas. Have a good one.